So before we started using electronic flight charts on the iPad in the cockpit, these are the paper charts we used to use. Now this is the Jefferson Airway manual. As you can see, there are several volumes for worldwide coverage. This one contains the maps for Canada to Europe. This one is Africa to Australia. This one is Far East to South America. This one is for the United States. And this one is called NOTAMs and 10.1. And the 10.1 charts are more localized information around specific airports. Now all of those manuals containing paper charts have been replaced with electronic charts on an iPad. And as you can imagine, the convenience and the ability to manage that chart in the cockpit is far easier on a single iPad than it is using multiple paper charts throughout a flight. So anyone following this $100,000 challenge by Flat Out Hero will agree that he has moved the goalposts several times already. Originally, his challenge simply asked for the route to be mapped out using flight charts, and that is what I did in my first response to him, using the operational flight chart on the iPad. So that first response answered his original challenge to the letter, but instead of being a man of his word, he decided to move the goalposts and change the rules, this time requiring the challenge be completed on the charts that he indicated on the SkyVector website. So I once again completed his challenge using the charts that he specified. Once again, he demonstrated a lack of honor by again moving the goalposts and changing the rules, and this time insisting that the challenge be done on paper flight charts. Now here we have the Jefferson Airway manual paper flight charts, and this chart is the Arctic Polar North Pacific High Altitude en route chart. So let's take a look at Flat Out Hero's $100,000 challenge on a paper flight chart. So here is the Arctic Polar chart unfolded, and as you can see, it is quite large, taking up most of the space on the desk in the hotel room. As you can imagine, operating with a chart like this in a cockpit at night or in turbulence is not the easiest thing to do. You can see it is packed with information on waypoints, routes, distances, cruising altitudes, FIR boundaries, and radio frequencies. And sometimes it can be quite difficult to find the exact information that you require. So when we transitioned to electronic flight charts on the iPad, it was like all my Christmases had come at once. Because with the iPad, we have everything available on a single seamless map, and all we need to do is scroll to the relevant position, and for more information, just tap on the chart, and it then gives you the relevant information for the area you're operating in, communication details, cruise tables, and other necessary information. And it is seamless for the entire Earth. If you want to go down to Cape Town, Africa, again, as you zoom in and zoom out, it shows relevant information. So you don't get that overcrowding on the chart that we used to see with the paper charts. We can zoom in and we can click anywhere and get the relevant information very easily. Frequencies, airspace limits. So electronic flight charts are far superior in the cockpit than using a number of paper charts like this, having to constantly fold and unfold the chart looking for the relevant piece of information has been replaced with a very user-friendly electronic chart. Wherever you go, you just zoom in and you have all the information at your fingertips. So let's have a look at Flat Out Hero's challenge on this paper chart, again going from the North Pole. Now what I have done is mark on this envelope the distance from the North Pole to the 85 latitude line, which you can see there. That is the distance. So we're going from the North Pole directly south until we hit 85 north latitude. We then make a 90-degree turn so that we are now traveling east. And what we're going to do is follow that latitude line the same distance that we traveled from the North Pole. And we reach this point here, where we make another 90-degree turn and travel back to the North Pole, the same distance, arriving back at the home location. And there I have drawn in the route for you from the North Pole, tracking south 180 degrees, making a left turn to track 090 degrees around the 85 north latitude line. Your heading is not changing, you are flying at 090 degrees. When you reach this point, you make another left turn 90 degrees. You're now tracking north 360, fly the same distance, and you are back home at the North Pole. So let's take a look at the type of projection that is used to create this chart. All aviation charts will list the type of projection used because they are all projections from a globe. And this one is a polar stereographic projection, and the latitude of true scale is 45 degrees. And the way the polar stereographic map projection works is essentially to place a light source at the opposite pole, shining through the globe and projecting onto the plane of projection, which becomes the map we saw of the North Pole. Here's another depiction. We have the light source at the opposite pole projecting down through the globe and onto the flat surface. So all flat aviation charts are in fact projections from a globe. So the polar stereographic projection works well when we are trying to map the Earth's poles onto a flat piece of paper. However, the majority of flight charts use a very different type of projection. This chart is for Australasia, covering the area north of Australia, and it uses the more common projection for flight charts, and that is called the Lambert Conformal Conical projection, and the standard parallels are at 0 degrees 15 minutes and 9 degrees 35 minutes. This is the most common type of projection used with paper flight charts, and remember, all these charts are projections from a globe because the Earth actually is a globe. So let's see if this flat earther will finally be a man of his word and pay the $100,000 now that I have completed his challenge using paper flight charts. Or will he once again move the goalposts, make excuses, and change the rules? I think we all know the answer to that. And I see he just made another video about me called "Has Anyone Checked on Wolfie Lately?" It's almost as if he's not able to post for some strange. Well, I'm perfectly capable of posting. However, my previous trip was 3 weeks away from home, the one where I went to Europe using my electronic flight charts, and I've just had 10 days at home, and my family take priority over making videos for you. So there's no need to concern yourself. I'm perfectly fine, and I'm now on another trip, and you'll see a few more videos posted shortly. The big question is, are you going to be a man of your word, or will we all see you backpedal and change the goalposts once again?